I caught my son texting his dad's best friend, Mom Cries, every night. And when he showed up at our door, I realized my kids had been matchmaking for months. Some revelations arrive like thunder on a quiet afternoon. Mine came through my 12-year-old son's phone screen, glowing with words I wasn't meant to see. Mom Cries every night. The recipient wasn't a friend, a relative, or even someone I'd consider close anymore. It was Marcus, my late husband's best friend, the man who disappeared from our lives 6 months after the funeral. What I didn't know was that my children had been orchestrating something far more elaborate than a simple conversation. They'd been building a bridge I didn't know I needed, one careful message at a time. The discovery that changed everything. I never meant to invade Ethan's privacy. The phone buzzed on the kitchen counter while he showered, and instinct made me glance at the notification. What I saw made my breath catch. A long thread of messages between my son and Marcus Chen, my late husband David's college roommate and groomsman at our wedding. The messages went back months. Ethan had been updating Marcus on everything. My long silences at dinner, how I'd stopped singing while cooking, the way I'd stare at Dad's empty chair. My daughter Lily had apparently joined the effort too, sending Marcus photos from school events with captions like "Mom came alone again," and she pretends to smile but her eyes look sad. I felt exposed and embarrassed, but also something else, a flicker of curiosity. Marcus had responded to every message with patience and care, asking questions about us, sharing memories of their father that made my children laugh. He'd been present in their lives while remaining invisible in mine. The doorbell that broke 6 months of silence. 3 days after my discovery, the doorbell rang during Saturday breakfast. Ethan and Lily exchanged quick glances, the kind siblings share when they're hiding something. My stomach dropped as I opened the door to find Marcus standing there, holding a casserole dish and wearing an uncertain smile. "The kids said you might need some company today," he said simply. Behind me, I heard Ethan whisper yell, "Yes," while Lily giggled. They'd planned this ambush with military precision. Marcus looked different than I remembered, older, with gray threading through his black hair, but his eyes held the same warmth that had made David trust him completely. He'd lost weight, I noticed, and there was a tiredness around his edges that mirrored my own. "They've been messaging you," I said, not quite a question. He nodded, his expression gentle but unapologetic. "For months," he confirmed. "They were worried about you. I was worried about you." The casserole dish felt like a peace offering, but his presence felt like something more, an answered prayer I'd been too proud to voice. The conspiracy revealed. Over coffee, Marcus had brought my favorite blend, a detail my children had obviously supplied. The full scope of their operation emerged. Lily produced a notebook filled with observations, dates I'd seemed particularly down, things that made me smile, topics that helped me open up. Ethan had created a shared document with Marcus, tracking conversation topics and planning interventions. They'd started small after noticing Marcus had stopped visiting. Ethan had messaged him first, asking why Uncle Marcus didn't come around anymore. Marcus had confessed he'd stayed away because he thought his presence reminded me too much of David, that maybe I needed space to heal. "But you were Dad's best friend," Lily had written back. "That means you're ours too, and Mom needs friends." They'd worn him down with persistent updates, photos, and eventually, direct pleas. The final push had come last week when Ethan sent a video of me crying while looking through old photo albums, something I'd thought I'd done privately. Marcus's voice cracked as he explained. "They made me realize I'd abandoned you all when you needed support most. I was grieving too, and I handled it poorly." Confronting the uncomfortable truth. After the kids retreated to the living room, giving us space with theatrical obviousness, Marcus and I sat in uncomfortable silence. Finally, I asked the question that had haunted me. "Why did you really stop coming around?" His answer surprised me. Marcus had lost his wife to illness 5 years before David's accident. He'd been the friend who understood grief, who'd helped David support me through my own mother's passing. But after David died, being in our home had become unbearable, not because it reminded him of David, but because he'd started having feelings he considered inappropriate. I was terrified I'd mistake grief for something else, he admitted, staring into his coffee. You just lost your husband, my best friend. The last thing you needed was me confusing everything. He'd stayed away to protect me, to protect us both from complicated emotions during an impossible time. I understood then that we'd both been isolating ourselves, each thinking we were doing the right thing. The kids had seen what we couldn't, that grief shared is grief lessened, and that friendship doesn't have an expiration date just because circumstances change. The children's perspective. That evening, after Marcus left with promises to return for dinner later that week, I sat down with Ethan and Lily for a real conversation. I expected to feel angry about the invasion of privacy, but instead, I felt curious about what they'd seen that I'd missed. You stopped laughing at cartoons, Lily said matter-of-factly. And you used to dance while cooking. Now you just stand there like a robot. Ethan added that I'd stopped talking about Dad naturally. Every mention became heavy and sad instead of warm and remembering. They'd noticed Marcus had similar changes after his wife passed, and how Dad had helped him return to himself. Dad would want someone to help you the way he helped Uncle Marcus, Ethan said with 12-year-old wisdom that made my throat tight. And we're too little to know how. What struck me most was their clarity about what they wanted. Not a replacement father, but the return of the mother who could still find joy. We miss Dad, Lily whispered. But we miss you too, Mom, the real you. They'd reached out to Marcus not as matchmakers, though they admitted hoping we might like each other someday, but as children desperate to see their surviving parent truly live again. Rebuilding bridges and boundaries. Marcus's reintegration into our lives happened gradually. Tuesday dinners became routine. He'd bring groceries and cook David's favorite meals, telling stories that made the kids howl with laughter, tales of college misadventures and work disasters that reminded us David had been fully human, not just the perfect memory we'd been preserving. We established boundaries carefully. I made clear to the children that Marcus was a friend, that their matchmaking needed to stop, and that rushing into anything would dishonor what we were all still processing. To my surprise, they accepted this gracefully. Ethan confessed they mostly just wanted me to have someone who understands and for their home to feel less heavy. Marcus and I talked honestly about expectations. He attended grief counseling and encouraged me to return to the sessions I'd abandoned. We compared notes on navigating holidays, handling well-meaning relatives, and the peculiar loneliness of being widowed in your 30s. These conversations weren't romantic. They were survivor's talk, raw and necessary. Slowly, I felt pieces of myself returning. Marcus's presence didn't replace David. Instead, it created space to remember him without drowning in sorrow. I started cooking with music again. Lily caught me dancing last Tuesday, and her face lit up like sunrise. When friendship transforms. 4 months after Marcus first reappeared, something shifted. We'd fallen into comfortable patterns. Movie nights where the kids picked films, weekend hikes where Ethan led us on adventures, board game competitions where Lily's strategic mind dominated us all. Marcus fit into our family rhythm like he'd never left, and I realized he hadn't just been David's friend, he'd been ours all along. One evening, after the children had gone to sleep, Marcus and I sat on the porch swing David had built. "Your kids are remarkable humans," he said quietly. "They saved both of us, I think." I agreed, marveling at how 12 and 9-year-olds had possessed wisdom their parents lacked. "I'm not trying to replace him," Marcus said suddenly, urgently. "I need you to know that. David was my brother in every way that mattered." I turned to him, seeing the fear in his eyes, the terror of disrespecting his best friend's memory, of moving too fast, of wanting something he felt he shouldn't. "David loved you," I said carefully, "and he loved us. I think he'd want us to help each other heal, however that looks." We didn't kiss that night, didn't declare anything profound, but we held hands in the darkness, two broken people finding strength in shared grief and cautious hope. Moving forward, together. There's no fairy tale ending here. Not yet, maybe not ever in the traditional sense. David's absence remains a presence in our home, and we've learned that's okay. His photos stay on the walls. We visit his resting place together now, all four of us, and Marcus tells stories that make us laugh through tears. Ethan and Lily haven't stopped their observational ways. Last week, Lily presented me with a new notebook labeled Things That Make Mom Happy Now, evidence that their concern has evolved into celebration. The list included Marcus's terrible jokes, dancing to old music, and not crying every night anymore. Marcus and I move slowly, carefully, with the children's full awareness and blessing. We've been honest about our growing feelings while emphasizing that family comes first, that any relationship between us must honor David's memory and prioritize the children's well-being. They've responded with maturity that astounds me, occasionally teasing us, but mostly just seeming relieved that the heaviness has lifted. We're building something new from the rubble of loss, not a replacement for what was, but an acknowledgement that life continues and love can take different forms. The kids taught us that grief and joy can coexist, that healing doesn't mean forgetting, and that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is let people in. Looking back, I'm astonished by my children's courage. While I was drowning in grief, building walls and pushing people away, two kids were quietly constructing lifelines. They saw what I couldn't, that isolation doesn't honor the deceased, and that their father's best friend wasn't a reminder of loss but a connection to love. Marcus didn't rescue me, and I didn't rescue him. We're rescuing each other with two brilliant children as our guides. They understood that family isn't just biology or marriage. It's the people who show up, who stay, who hold space for both sorrow and healing. The greatest lesson they've taught me is this: grief is not a solo journey, and healing doesn't require forgetting. Sometimes the people who knew your loved one best can help you remember them most fully. And sometimes children see the path forward more clearly than adults ever could, because they haven't yet learned to complicate love with fear. We're not a conventional family, but we're becoming a whole one again, stitched together by loss, mended by patience, and strengthened by the wisdom of two kids who refuse to let the adults in their lives disappear into sorrow. David would be proud of them. I know I am. Moral of the story: this journey taught me profound truths about grief, healing, and the unexpected forms love can take. The central lesson is that isolation in sorrow doesn't honor those we've lost. Connection does. My children showed me that healing isn't betrayal, that moving forward doesn't mean forgetting, and that letting people in requires more courage than keeping them out. We often think we're protecting others by hiding our pain, but transparency and vulnerability create stronger bonds than false strength ever could. Marcus and I both learned that asking for help isn't weakness, and that accepting support honors the memory of those who loved us rather than diminishing it. Perhaps most importantly, this experience revealed that children possess wisdom adults often overlook. Their emotional intelligence, unburdened by complicated pride or fear of judgment, allowed them to see simple truths. People need people. Love doesn't divide but multiplies, and family can be chosen as much as given. The story also speaks to the importance of patience in healing. There's no timeline for grief, no deadline for moving forward. What matters is remaining open to connection, allowing relationships to evolve naturally, and trusting that honoring the past and embracing the future aren't mutually exclusive. Ultimately, this is a story about how love persists beyond loss, not by replacing what was, but by creating space for what can be. It's about children who refuse to let their parent disappear into sorrow, a friend who overcame fear to show up when needed most, and a family that learned grief shared is grief survived. Sometimes the greatest gift we can give those we've lost is to truly live, to love again, and to let their memory inspire connection rather than isolation.